My next guest has got another big fight. This time he's going to finish the year strong. UFC 310, last pay-per-view of the year. He's taking on Max Griffin. This is an awesome throwback fight. It is Michael Chiesa, Maverick, back here on the program. Mike, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Feels good to be back on the show with you. I feel like I just talked to you like last week.
I know. We're making these more of a regular thing, which is great. I always enjoy talking to you. And man, I mentioned it there. I love this fight. What a throwback kind of veteran fight. You must have been pretty happy to get Max as an opponent.
Yeah, I was happy to get Max as an opponent. He's a total stud. Him and I would consider him like a friend. You know, we catch each other in passing. It's always a good conversation. He's a West Coast guy. I'm a West Coast guy. Me, him, and Fluffy trained together years ago at the old 10th Planet in Las Vegas. So it's fun when you get to like lay it on the line against somebody you have a ton of respect for. You know, and it's a fun fight. It's kind of like, it's so fun kind of being out of the rankings right now, just because like when you're in the rankings, you're kind of hyper focused on like 10 to 12, 15 guys, you know, so you kind of have an idea of who you're going to fight. And when I got done with the Tony fight, it kind of makes it a lot more fun when it's like you just don't know who it's going to be. It's like you can't really predict. So when they came at me with Max Griffin, I got stoked about it. You add in the fact it's on my birthday, makes it even more fun. So pretty pumped about it.
That's good. I'm December birthday as well. End of the year though. I'm on the 31st, so it's a little bit later. The other cool thing about this card is Chase Hooper's on the card with you. That must be pretty cool to have a fellow Pacific Northwester on there.
Yeah, man, it's pretty cool. You know, Chase is between him and like Brady Houston. You know, they're kind of like the future of Washington State fighters. You know, and so it's really cool to get a chance to share a card with Chase. You know, him and I, we train together frequently, and he's just a good kid, man. I feel like the future of Pacific Northwest fighters is in really good hands with guys like Chase, with guys like Brady. So it's going to be a lot of fun, you know, and he gets to fight ahead of me. So this is like the first time in a long time, James, where like, I don't think I've ever been like early on the prelims.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm kind of stoked about it. It's like, you know, fight day when you're on the main card or main event or co-main event, you're kind of stuck thinking about the fight all day. And you're just kind of going through like the ebbs and flows of like, you know, going through the fight mentally and feeling good, feeling scared, feeling nervous, like just a whole mix of emotions on fight day where it's like, I'm early on the card. So I just like wake up, shake out, go to the arena, fight. And I don't have to deal with any of that. And I can sit back, watch the rest of the card, enjoy time with friends and family on my birthday and stuff. So it's cool, man. So I'm gonna start the night off good for Chase, and then he's gonna take it home for us.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Stylistically, how are you looking at this one? You guys got a lot of fights between the two of you, so it's going to be a good potential fight of the night, I think.
Yeah, I think so. You know, it's no secret what me and Max like to do. Max wants to go out there and take my head off. He's got a great right hand, and I think that he's deceptively well-rounded. I think that he's more well-rounded than people give him credit for, and I feel like the same can be said for me. Obviously, plan A, I want to take you down and submit you. But, you know, I feel like I'm grossly underrated as well. So if this is a matter of, or if plan A is not working, I got to go to plan B and I got to stand with Max. I feel more than comfortable and more than capable of doing so and still being able to get the win. You know, as long as I've been in the game, James, I still feel like I haven't shown my full game. And I have so many guys I train with that are just like, when the hell are you just going to like stand up with these guys? Because like everybody sees what I do in the gym. And they're like, when are you going to show the world? When are you going to let them know that, you know, you got knockout power in your hands and you have good striking? And it's like, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If I can just stick to what I've been doing my whole career, like I'm going to keep doing it. But I feel like Max might be the guy that's going to bring out that other side of me where I can show the world how well-rounded I really am and show that I'm more than just a grappler and I can strike with anybody. And I feel like if it comes down to it, and that's how I get the job done, I think people will be clamoring to put a number next to my name again.
And it looked like you got plenty of notice for this fight. As far as camp, is it all at home? Did you do any cross training? What sort of camp looking like leading to this?
So I had a decent notice. You know, when I got done with the Tony fight, I was pretty banged up headed into that fight, man. I almost had to have surgery on my thumb. The first day of training camp for Tony Ferguson, tore my UCL on my thumb. So I went through that camp one-handed. And then on my good arm, so that was on my right thumb. And then on my good arm, Brady tore a tendon in my elbow, that little shit. And then so I went into that fight with like both of my arms compromised. And so did some stem cells, did some rehab. So I really like kind of started once I was able to get my cast off my hand and stuff. I think I had about 10 weeks, 11 weeks notice or something like that. So definitely good notice. I'm healthy. I feel good. I've been doing camp at home. I don't know if you've been seeing on my social media, but I finally made my dream come true, man. I built a 40 by 40 shop.
That's right.
Out my backyard. Yeah. And I got a 20 by 24 mat space with wall mats, full weight room. So while I'm out here doing strength conditioning at Mode with my coach, Dylan Lemery, we can do all that stuff from my house. I've been doing a lot of my training from my house. I'm still a Sick Jitsu guy. This isn't like me, oh, I'm leaving my team. It's just I've just always wanted to have a gym at my house. I've always idolized Cowboy Cerrone, and he was the motivation as to why I did this. Once he started the BMF ranch, and I bought a house on property and stuff, I was I want my own BMF ranch someday. So I'm just kind of living out that dream right now, and I got to pay homage to my boy Cowboy Cerrone, because this dream wouldn't have became a dream if it wasn't for him. And so now I'm able to make it a reality, and I don't think it's ever a bad thing if you're trying to walk in the footsteps of a UFC Hall of Famer. So
no,
big shout out to my boy Cowboy.
So you mentioned kind of training with up and comers. Is there anyone you're training with right now that we're going to be hearing about soon? Because it sounds like a good mix of kind of the old school guys and some of the new school.
Yeah, dude, it's been cool. I've been having Sam Cecilia come back. That's my roll dog.
Nice. Okay.
Ace. Yeah, that's my ace. I wouldn't be where I'm at without that guy. So it's been fun being back on the mats with him. Ashton Charlton's the guy coming up. He's a top-ranked guy for BFL up in Canada. He's making some adjustments. He's probably going to come down to 55, but he's been my ace. Of course, I'm training with Austin Arnett. And then Gage Saunders came over from Montana for a little bit. So getting some work with him. Just a good mix of guys, man. I love training out in Las Vegas. John Woods, my boy, Syndicate, 10th Planet out there. I love all those guys. I love the culture in Las Vegas. I've just figured out that I just fight better when I do my whole camp at home. When I do most of my camp at home, I just perform better. I fight better. I compete better. But still, I plan to going to Las Vegas a little bit early and get a little training in as well. So camp's good, man. No complaints here. I'm healthy. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to start my first day of being 37 in the win column on December 7th.
Not bad. How's this fight playing out on December 7th? How do you see it unfolding?
I'm just ready to walk through the fire, man. As always, I'm very prepared for every scenario. We dotted our I's. We crossed our T's. We got a game plan set in place. So if I could go out there and get the job done quick, make it look easy like I did against Ferguson, cool. I'll do that. Happy birthday to myself. If I got to go out there and play blood and guts with none other than Max Payne, I'm gonna get my hand raised either way. So I'm excited about it. It's gonna be a fun night. Make sure to tune into the early prelims.
In the co-main event, we got a new co-main event. It's Shavkat and Garry in your weight class. Who's taking that? It's a 5-round fight.
Woo! Man, that's a good fight. I'll keep it short. There's some sparring footage that came out of Garry and Shavkat. I think that they're both going to be very familiar with each other. And I will go out on a limb and say, I think this fight goes to a decision. I think that these guys are familiar with each other enough to where they're going to negate a few of the attacks. And it's going to be a matter of who can come in there and throw a new wrinkle into their game to throw throw off the opponent. So I think that obviously, I think for Shavkat, if he can find a way to get this fight to the mat, I think that could benefit him a lot. And for Ian, I think that it's just going to be a matter of, I think that if he can change stances a little bit, use the kicks, I think he can have a lot of success. But when it's all said and done and the dust settles, I think Shavkat walks out with his hand raised and is the rightful number one contender.
And what about Colby Covington and Joaquin Buckley?
Buck all day. Yeah, I think Joaquin Buckley is an incredible athlete, tremendous power, very, very hungry. And that is the most important part in this matchup between Colby and Joaquin is Buckley is way more hungry than Colby Covington. I can tell you that much. Buckley is chomping at the bit to fight anybody and everybody. And I think that Colby, I just don't know. I have a feeling, I haven't heard anything, but I have a feeling that the UFC was like, you have to take this fight. At some point, you got to step up. I know you kind of got to sweeten the pot with Colby to get him into the octagon and get him competing, but it's gotten to the point where it's like you fought for the title 3 times. You don't get an extra, you don't get the extra flavor to your dish for taking a fight. It's like you have to just start fighting if you want to get to a title. You can't have any guarantees as to if you're fighting this guy, you win, you get this. No, you just got to start fighting guys and rattle off some wins if you want to get yourself back in title contention. And he drew Joaquin Buckley, and I think Buckley gets the job done. I think that he's going to be very, very hard to take down. I think he's a powerhouse at 170 pounds, and I think that he's the dark horse in terms of up-and-coming contenders at welterweight.
Love it. Quite the endorsement. Did you watch Mike Tyson and Jake Paul?
Yeah, that was very hard, man. th- I'm glad that Mike was able to walk out of there on 2 feet, and it looked like he was struggling to stand on his 2 feet. Had the knee brace on, kind of stumbled walking out. It just looked like his legs were just a little bit compromised. And if Jake Paul really laid off the gas and didn't hurt him or finish him, good on him. I hate how people are saying the fight's a fix. For anybody watching this that's saying like that fight was a fix, you realize like if you get caught fixing a fight, like you lose your license to promote forever. So
Yeah.
like there's way too much to risk, and people don't realize that. Like it's so hard to fix a fight, and if you get caught, you're doing federal prison time.
Yeah.
You're losing your rights to be a promoter or compete for the rest of your life. So that's not what's going on. But on the other side of that coin, like good on Jake Paul if he really did lay off the gas and not hurt Mike Tyson, because I feel like that would have been very, very unnecessary. It was hard enough to watch as it was, man. It was tough.
Just before we get out of here quickly, Jon Jones obviously defeating Stipe. Just your thoughts on the fight. And do you think he fights again?
I don't know, man. That's tough. I thought Jon looked good. I thought Stipe had a few decent moments, but Jon is just like the cerebral assassin. Like he just like picks his guys apart. He's incredible with his film study. His fight IQ is, I mean, he's a genius. He knows how to pick guys apart. I thought he looked incredible. I think that he cemented himself as, you know, the number one pound for pound fighter right now. We'll see what happens, man. I think that it would be sad if we couldn't see him in Aspinall, man. That fight would be, I think it could be not just the biggest heavyweight fight of all time. I think it could be the biggest fight of all time. That fight would be huge. It would be incredible. And there's no signs telling me that Jon can't win that fight. So I'm hoping that he competes again. Preferably, I'd like to see him fight Aspinall, but nonetheless, I hope Jon keeps competing. I feel like he still has a lot of tread left on the tires. And it's crazy to say that after how long he's been a champion for, how many, you know, incredibly tough opponents he's faced. He just seems like he hasn't slowed down. He's only gotten better. So I hope he still competes.
And just quickly, Bo Nickal obviously getting the win, but some people, you know, obviously the crowd was chanting overrated and all this stuff. What did you make of his performance against Paul Craig, and what do you think should be next for him?
You know, it's just kind of like for Bo, it's like he's in a tough spot. Like he goes out there and smokes the guy. It's like, oh, Paul Craig sucks. But Bo goes out there and has the fight that he has. It's like, you're boring. You're not very good. It's like Bo fought a smart game plan. Like he is an incredible wrestler. I myself would have liked to see him go for the grappling, go for the takedown, get the fight to the mat, make things interesting. Let's see how good Bo's jiu-jitsu is and his grappling is against the guy and Paul Craig, who's got an incredibly dangerous bottom game. But could you blame him for wanting to stay out of Paul Craig's wheelhouse? I don't. I think that he fought a very smart fight. While it wasn't like the most appealing fight to the fans, you got to go out there and win, man. You got to go out there and win by any means necessary. And pleasing the fans doesn't always get you that win bonus. So good on Bo to go out there, stick to a game plan, get the dub. He's still developing. I think that him being able to go 15 minutes and force himself to stand is only going to make him grow a lot. I loved his post-fight interview talking about development. And I think that the next time we see Bo Nickal, I think he's going to silence a lot of those naysayers, and he's going to get back to his finishing ways. So I'm still on the Bo Nickal hype train. I still think the guy's going to be a future champion.
Okay. Mike, thanks for doing this. I'll let you get back to training. Anyone you want to thank before we get out of here? Sponsor, social media. I'll give you the last word.
Man, I just want to thank my team, my coach, Rick Little, my coach, James Weed, my strength coach, Dylan Lemery. Him and I have been in business since he was in high school and I was coaching him. So it's funny how tides have turned. I just want to thank all my teammates, my family. Big shout out to my mother-in-law, Dee Dee. She's been kind of going through it with some health issues lately, but things are looking good for her. And big shout out to Spokane, Washington. And make sure to tune in December 7th, UFC 310. Let's go.